That is clearly the murderer's intent. Or murderers.
How could I hear anything else?
You might have done. If the killer left the hall that way, it's very possible, Mrs. Ralston, that he heard you coming from the kitchen and slipped up the back stairs or into the dining room.
I'm not sure. I think I had a door creak and shut just as I was coming out of the kitchen.
Which door?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, come on, Mrs. Ralston. Try and think. Upstairs, downstairs, close at hand, left, right, what?
I don't know. I'm not even sure I heard anything.
Can't you stop bullying her? Can't you see she's all in?
We are investigating a murder, Mr. Ralston. Up until now, nobody has taken this seriously. Mrs. Boyle did not take this seriously. She held out on me with information. You all held out on me. Mrs. Boyle is dead. And unless we get to the bottom of this, and quickly, mind, there will be another death.
Another? Nonsense. Why?
Because there were 3 little blind mice.
Does for each of them? Then that means there has to be some connection. Another connection with the Longridge Farm case.
Yes, there would have to be that. Now, I want to get down quite clearly where everyone was at the time of the murder. I already have Mrs. Ralston's statement. You were preparing vegetables in the kitchen. You came out of the swing door, down the hall and into here. The radio was blaring, but the hall was dark. You switched on the light, saw Mrs. Boyle, and screamed.
Yes. Yes, I screamed and I screamed. And at last people came.
Yes. As you say, people came. A lot of people from all different directions, all seemingly arriving at once. Now, when I got out that window to trace the telephone wire, Mr. Ralston went upstairs to the room the keen Mrs. Ralston occupied to try the extension telephone. Where were you when she screamed?
Oh, I was still upstairs. The extension line was dead too. I looked out the window to see if I could see any sign of the line being cut there, but I couldn't see anything. Just as I was closing the window, I heard my wife scream and I rushed down.
Oh. Those simple actions took you a rather long time, didn't they?
I don't think so.
Yes, I'd say you took your time over them indeed.
I was thinking about something.
Now then, Mr. Wren, I'll have your account of where you were.
I've been in the kitchen. See if there was anything I could do to help Mrs. Ralston. I adore her. After that, I went upstairs to my bedroom.
Why?
Quite a natural thing to go to one's bedroom, don't you think? I mean, one wants to be alone sometimes.
So you went up to your bedroom because you wanted to be alone?
And I wanted to brush my hair and tidy up.
You wanted to brush your hair?
Anyway, that's where I was.
So you were upstairs in your room when you heard Mrs. Ralston scream?
Yes.
And then you came down here?
Yes.
Curious then that you and Mr. Ralston did not meet on the stairs.
I came down by the back stairs, the nearer to my room.
Or did you go up by the back stairs as well? Or did you come through here?
I went up by the back stairs too.
Mr. Peroncini, I am playing piano in the drawing room to do that, Inspector. I'm not an inspector, Mr. Peroncini, just merely a sergeant. Can anyone hear you playing the piano? I do not expect so. I was playing very, very softly. With one finger, so.
You were playing 3 blind mice.
Is that so?
Yes, it is a very catchy little tune. It is, how shall I say, a haunting little tune. Now, don't you agree?
Well, I think it's horrible.
And yet it lands in people's head. As someone was whistling it too.
Really? Where?
I am not sure. Perhaps in the front hall. Perhaps on the stairs. Perhaps even upstairs in a bedroom.
Who was whistling 3 blind mice? Are you making this up, Mr. Peroncini?
Oh, no, Inspector! I beg your pardon. Sergeant. I will not do anything like that.
Very well, go on then. You were playing the piano.
With one finger, so. And then the lady was playing very loud. Someone was shouting on it. It offended my ears. And after that, suddenly, I heard Mrs. Ralston scream.
Mr. Ralston, upstairs. Mr. Wren, upstairs. Mr. Peroncini in the drawing room. Miss Casewell.
I was writing letters in the library.
Could you hear what was going on out here?
No, I
didn't hear anything until Mrs. Ralston screamed.
And then what did you do?
I came in here.
At once?
I think so.
So, you were writing letters in the library when you heard Mrs. Ralston scream?
Yes.
And then you got up hurriedly from the writing desk to come in here?
Yes.
And yet, there does not appear to be any unfinished letters in the writing desk in the library.
I took them with me.
Oh? Dearest Jessie, I'm a friend of yours or a relation?
That's none of your damned business.
No, I suppose not. You know, Miss Casewell, if while I was writing letters, I heard someone scream blue murder, I don't believe I would take the time to pick the letter up from the writing desk, fold it neatly, and put it in my handbag before going to see what was the matter.
You wouldn't? How interesting.
All right, Major Metcalf, you say you were in the cellars. Why?
Looking around. Just looking around. I looked into that covered place under the stairs near the kitchen, a lot of junk and sports tackle, and I noticed there was another door inside it. I opened it and I saw a flight of steps. I was curious, so I went on down. Nice cellars you got.
Glad you like them.
Not at all. Crypt of an old monastery, I should say. Probably why this place is called Monkswell.
We're not engaged in antiquarian research, Major Metcalf. We are investigating a murder. Now, as Mrs. Ralston says, she heard a door close with a faint creak. That particular door closes with a faint creak. It could be, you know, that after killing Mrs. Boyle, the killer slipped into the cupboard, pulling the door after him.
A lot of things could be.
There would be fingerprints on the inside of the cupboard.
Mine are there, all right. But most criminals are careful to wear gloves, aren't they?
Well, it's usual, but all criminals slip up sooner or later.
I wonder, Sergeant, if that's really true.
Look here, aren't we wasting time? There's one person here.
Oh, Mr. Ralston, please, I am in charge of this investigation.
Fine. Very well.
Oh, Mr. Ralston! Thank you. Now, we've got to establish opportunity, you know, as well as motive. And let me tell you this. You all had opportunity. There are two staircases. Anyone could easily go up by one and down by the other. Anyone could go down into the cellars by the cupboard near the kitchen door and come up by the flight of steps that leads through the trapdoor and to the foot of the stairs over here. The vital fact is that every one of you was alone at the time of the murder.
Ah, but see here, you speak as if any of us could be under suspicion. That's absurd.
In a murder case, Mr. Ralston, everyone is under suspicion.
Ah, but you know pretty well who killed that woman in Culver Street? The eldest of those three children. A mentally abnormal young man about 23 years of age. Well, damn it all, there's only one person here who seems to fit the bill.
It's not true! It's not true, you're all against me. Everyone's always been against me. You're going to frame me for murder. It's persecution, that's just what it is. Persecution!
Steady, lad, steady.
It's all right, Chris. Nobody's against you. Don't tell him it's all right.
We don't frame people.
Tell him you're not going to arrest him.
I'm not arresting anybody. To do that, I've got to have evidence. And I haven't got any evidence. Yet.
No, I think you're crazy, Molly. And I think you're crazy too. There's only one person here who seems to fit the bill, and if only as a safety measure, you ought to be put under arrest. It's only safe for the rest of us.
No, wait, child, wait! It's not a trot me. May I speak to you a minute?
Certainly, Mrs. Ralston. Will the rest of you please go into the dining room?
Fine, stay.
No, you two, child, please.
Fine.